Hey, welcome back, everybody. Sarcasm Speaks, Jared and Bob. We got Chris with us today, making a return to the show in a while. I feel like it's been a while since you've been on.
It's been far too long.
Yeah, at least probably since the death pool, I would say.
Yeah.
But yeah, we had ourselves some technical difficulties before we got on here, but we're all good to go now. But right out of the gate, we could take a loser lap, I suppose. Speaking of the death pool, Matthew Perry died yesterday.
How did we not see that one coming?
Yeah, you know what? In hindsight, that was a pretty obvious one because he struggled pretty bad with addiction.
For sure. And I saw him, I want to say recently, it wasn't recently, but within the last year, let's say, I might have been on Bill Maher. This is going to sound terrible. Maybe this is too soon. I don't know. But he looked like he'd already drowned when he was on that program. Like he just looked
bloated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Terrible.
Yeah, I was gonna say some of the more recent pictures didn't look awesome.
No, I
saw. How old was he? He
54.
54. Yeah, that's yeah, that's tough.
Hard life.
Well, yeah, I mean, documented. I'm on his Wikipedia right now. Fun fact: born in Williamstown.
Local guy.
But yeah, I mean, like documented that is a hard life. Like drug and alcohol addiction, that'll fucking weather anybody.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I didn't watch it, but I saw it was all over Instagram and social media when they did the Friends. Would it have been the 20th reunion or 10? Like,
I don't know. Special they did?
Yeah, whatever special they did was that it was during the pandemic, I think, or right after the pandemic.
Does it go back that far?
I don't know. It was within the last 3 years that they put it out, and it was all over social media about how awful he looked. And like,
and comparatively too, because the rest of them have kept themselves so well together. I don't know if I'm saying that correctly, but like the rest of them look pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, Jennifer Aniston is drinking like baby's blood or something. She prays to fucking Moloch and she does something.
Yeah, old 80.
There's no fucking way that you can be almost 60 and look as good as she does, especially as a white woman. I mean,
I would say because generally, like the Hispanics, they can usually like keep it going.
Yeah. Everyone knows that white women age the worst.
like a fine milk.
Yeah. Yeah, like a fine milk, exactly.
Yeah, so I didn't actually know his deal. Michaela watched she's a Friends fan, so she watched the special, whatever that thing was. I don't remember when it was. I kind of don't remember what it was, whatever, but they were all there. And I do remember thinking, I'm like, wow, he looks a little tough right now. Come to find out that, yes, he was a massive drug addict.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I guess it's not to be unexpected that he looked that bad. 54, though, that's still tough.
Yeah, that's pretty young.
That's still young.
Yeah.
Like, again, no matter how hard you ride it and no matter how wet you put it away, like,
yeah.
54 is still young. So that's a bummer, especially if he actually cleaned his act up, which it sounded like he was in recovery.
Yeah.
So that's just, I mean, that kind of blows.
Yeah, it's tough when you see guys like a Steven Tyler or even like a Mick Jagger or something, and you're like, well, yeah, Ozzy. They did drugs for 40 years. Like, obviously, yeah, sure, they're gonna die, but like, 54 is still pretty young to die from drugs.
Right.
Especially when you're clean, right? It's obviously like you can die at any age from drugs, but like he didn't overdose. He just destroyed his body via drugs. And then he just, his body just gave out, unfortunately. But like normally that's what happens. Like you said, like Ozzy, Mick, those guys, like the guys that partied and then they get to be in their 70s, 80s. They might have been clean for 30 years, but that doesn't erase the 30 years of fucking
a lot of damage.
Heroin and cocaine and fucking all kinds of shit, right? Laudanum. Like I bet some of those guys, I guarantee
I was gonna say
Mick Jagger is old enough to have done laudanum.
Well, I was gonna say, like, obviously some of those guys, they were active in this. I mean, going back to Ozzy, he was probably active in the late '60s with Black Sabbath.
Yeah,
like he might have had Quaaludes on fucking
mescaline,
like a Pez dispenser.
yeah. So, but yeah, it's tough. But yeah, I mean, like you said, the other ones are pretty. I mean, Courtney Cox doesn't look awesome.
That's just a lot of work.
She's had too much work done.
Yeah, she fell apart pretty quickly after that show ended.
But what's his face? David Schwimmer looks great. I mean, like I said, Jennifer Aniston is above and beyond. Like she looks better at 60 than she did at fucking 27 somehow. Again, Moloch, but she's in a class of her own. But Dave Schwimmer still looks great.
Yeah, what's his face?
Joey.
Yeah, what's his name?
Yeah, what's his real name?
Matt LeBlanc.
Matt LeBlanc. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. He's decent. I mean,
John Stamos.
He looks like an older white dude now. Like his hair is gray. He's a little bit thicker.
Fine. He's fine.
But he's fine.
Yeah.
Right. He looks like he
looks a little greasy, but it's fine.
Yeah, he looks like a dude in his mid-50s, right? Like I don't know about what's her face, Phoebe. I don't really know what her deal is.
She looked fine on the reunion show.
Yeah.
Like I didn't know. Like, again, the only one I noticed like Courtney Cox had a lot of work done. And I noticed that Matthew Perry was in tough shape.
Yeah.
Everyone else was like, yeah, okay, they look all right.
Yeah. Yeah, because I saw, being at October and near Halloween, I think it was a preview for another Scream movie, because they make like $1 million. It's like Final Destination and Scream and Fast and the Furious, right? They just don't know when to stop with those franchises.
People are still watching this shit though.
Yeah, no, I know.
What are we? Who was watching Scream 73? Like, who the fuck is watching that?
Like, we've been through what, 13 different Ghostface killers, right?
Yeah,
like
I have no idea.
Like,
I stopped at 2, if I even saw 2.
Yeah, I think I've seen the first 3. I know I've seen the first 2. I think I've seen the third one too. But yeah, I mean, you've gone through so many. The one with Liev Schreiber, I think that was 2. That was either 2 or 3. But it's like, yeah, what are we doing? Like, it's because I saw she was in a commercial for like or a preview for, I think it was Scream, either that or it was a horror movie, because she was in like a tub and she got like pulled under or whatever, and I was like, wow, she does not look good. Like, she looks like she went to fucking Michael Jackson's plastic surgeon. Like, she's rough.
Well, other than that, guys, I don't think there's much going on in the world right now, so we can probably just shut it down and call it there.
Yeah. I think so. If you had to choose, because there's 2 realms of like getting too much work done on your face, would you rather go like the Courtney Cox, Michael Jackson route, or like the William Shatner route, where like his face is just completely Botoxed, so like he's got no emotions?
How about I just age the way I'm gonna fucking age, and if it looks like shit, then tough break.
Well, yeah, no, I mean, obviously that's the obvious choice, but I'm giving you, if you have to go one way or the other.
Dude,
I guess I'd rather it not move than it look like overdone.
I think I would go the Shatner route, right? Of just get a ton of Botox and have my face be frozen.
Because I think when people get the plastic surgery and like it's never like, I don't know if it's mental illness or whatever the hell causes this, but like they never stop when it's an appropriate time to stop. It's always like, we're going to go one more and then one more and then one, and then it's like, then you end up looking like Michael Jackson or insert whatever.
Courtney Cox.
Yeah. And then it just looks like your face is melting off.
Yeah.
And and to me, like, we have multiple years of seeing what that end result is, and it never goes well. So these people have do some research.
The history,
they
right?
have the history. They know what that looks like. They know where that road ends, and they still continue. They still are so like just obsessed with trying to keep that young look that they're like, I guess we're gonna try it this time and see what happens. And
yeah, like just
Never looks good.
age and just age gracefully,
you're
I
gonna be
guess.
fine.
Like
You're gonna be fine.
it can be done, right? Like what's her name? Michelle Pfeiffer. She's got to be in her 70s. Like she looks fine as a 70-year-old, right? Like I mean, I'm sure she might have had some work done, but she was in she's in Ant-Man. She's in all the Ant-Man movies, like those Marvel things. So I mean, she looks good for however old she is, right? Like she looks like a grandma, but like she doesn't look like someone who's had way too much plastic surgery. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, 70-year-old that's trying to look 20.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's a 70-year-old who accepts the fact that she's 70, right? Like Helen Mirren, right? Like all those. Who's the other one that I always confuse with Helen Mirren? Don't know. Kid. Oh, Meryl Streep. I always get them mixed up. They're fine. They're like 80, right?
Work done.
Yeah, she's definitely had some work done. Or like Judi Dench. I think Judi Dench has got to be almost 90 at this point.
Couldn't pick her out of a lineup. I have no idea who that is.
She's M from the real James Bond, Pierce Brosnan.
Oh God.
Hashtag my James Bond.
I've literally not seen one James Bond movie.
Really?
Ever. Nope. And now we're at the point where like we've crossed the threshold of like, why would I go watch them now? Like, it was not a series that I grew up watching, and I've never seen a single one. So
I can accept that for some of like the older ones, right? Like, why would you go back and watch? One like the Man with the Golden Gun, right? Or like the one George Lazenby fucking movie, even Roger Moore.
I would even say too, it's tough to go back and watch even like Goldfinger, which Goldfinger is good, but I think like if I hadn't gone through them like when I was way younger, it might be tough to go back to because even now it's like it's really hard to get jazzed up for 2 hours of 1960s cinema.
And I feel like I would need to I would not be a person that would start it like in the 2000s. I would have to go back and watch the original ones to make it make sense to me. I couldn't just jump in the middle. And that's, I think, the problem why I never watched them, because I'm like, I've never seen the originals and I don't give a shit about now because I have no idea what the originals were. So I know they're all kind of independent, but still.
Yeah, they didn't. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think they began to like string them together until Pierce Brosnan, right?
So I mean, the first one. Shit. Now I'm kind of losing them in my head. I want to say like the first. I want to say Dr. No and Goldfinger sort of stand alone, but then I want to say out of like
the Roger Moore ones, I think are strung together. Like, isn't Odd Job in more than one?
Odd Job's not, but Jaws is in.
Jaws, yeah, that's what. Yeah, I knew there was one of them was in.
But that's like almost irrelevant. Like Jaws' second appearance is basically irrelevant. No, like there's probably 5 non-consecutive movies that are Spectre and Blofeld and whatever, but like Blofeld's always a different actor, and sometimes they show his face, sometimes they don't, and then they show his face, but he's somebody else, and then it's a new actor, so it's like, oh, the plastic surgery, like I changed my appearance. It's like you don't need to know.
Yeah.
If you've seen Austin Powers, you can figure out what Spectre and Blofeld are. That's all it is.
Yeah. And then James Bond stole from Austin Powers for the Daniel Craig series. So like, that's what I was going to say. The Daniel Craig series is 100% like
they're a breakaway. So
yeah, what's it called? Is it anthology? Is that the word that I'm looking for? Where like it's like there's a chronological order to watch them. Like you have to watch them in order.
Yeah, I mean, you could watch Casino Royale on and probably enjoy them because they're modern, and the storyline sort of resets, or the character development sort of resets. But yeah, I mean, then it's like, not Skyfall. Skyfall is good. Spectre gets a bump because it brings back Blofeld, but it doesn't really do a lot on its own. Like, if that doesn't mean anything to you, then it doesn't really do a lot. But in that movie, yes, they stole from Austin Powers, where they were brothers, where that was an Austin Powers character line, and that did not happen in the beginning.
Yeah, that did not happen in the books, right? The Alfred Broccoli books that he wrote.
Nope.
Yeah. Or no, Ian Fleming. Alfred Broccoli
Fleming wrote the books.
Yeah,
he
Broccoli
directed the movies.
Brought them to the screen. Yeah, so Ian Fleming did not write that in. Well, seeing that you said there's nothing really, big going on in the world, there does happen to be one small minor thing that no one seems to really be talking about. I think other than Dan Holloway from the Drinking Bros podcast. So Gavin Newsom, of all people, is in China right now. China. So he's taking meetings with Xi Jinping, who is the president or whatever, premier, whatever the fuck China uses. He effectively the president. Yeah, he's the emperor, dictator, whatever you want to call him. Taking meetings with him, and is on like an extended diplomatic trip, and seems to be that there's only a small group of people that are kind of like raising their hands and being like, what the fuck? Because never before has a governor of a state that holds no federal title or position gone overseas to a foreign country as a diplomat. Doesn't make any sense.
I think I'm certainly not the person to speak on this. I'm not sure that that's
legal, because it's not
legal. I don't.
So this is where I get to what Dan Holloway was saying. So shout out to Dan, not that he listens to the show, but there's a thing called the Logan Act, and it was passed. I don't know when it was. It was like the 1800s. So the Logan Act it's a federal law that criminalizes negotiation by unauthorized American citizens with foreign governments that have a dispute with the United States. So the whole thing goes all the way back to 1798, when George Logan, who I don't know who that guy was, some fucking bum, but he tried to negotiate with France during one of the wars with France, and all of like John Adams and fucking George Washington and all these guys were like, hey, fuck you, let's not do that. So seeing that it was 1798, they probably killed him. they probably charged him with treason and fucking, drawn and quartered him.
Yeah, drawn and quartered or stoning as punishment.
Yeah, but they named this act after him. Like, very nice of them to do. And it's called the Logan Act. So let me see if I can find the quote that I saw the other day.
Because I had heard he was talking about like climate change shit.
And yes. So here it is. Here's the so I've seen some people talk about this. So what I'm going to read isn't actually from the Logan Act itself. It's from a Supreme Court ruling in 1936 called United States versus Curtis Wright Export Corporation, whatever. So I don't know anything about that case, but this was the Supreme Court ruling that came out of that case. So it says, the president alone has the power to speak or listen as a representative of the nation. He makes treaties with the advice and consent of the Senate, but he alone negotiates. Into the field of negotiation, the Senate cannot intrude, and Congress itself is powerless to invade it. As Marshall said in his great argument in March 7th, 1800, in the House of Representatives, whatever, the president is the sole organ of the nation in its external relations and its sole representative with foreign nations. So again, that's the ruling from the Supreme Court. That's not written in the Logan Act, but that is what, the Supreme Court took the Logan Act and came to that ruling, and that's what they published in that U.S. versus Curtis Wright Corporation in 1936.
So in order for there to be a violation of that, he would have to be negotiating something. And let's walk it back a little bit. Like, are we in a dispute with China? Is that an official thing?
Yeah, like, I would say so.
I would say we're certainly in a dispute with Russia. I would say we're in a dispute with no, I guess we'll use Russia as an example. So like if someone goes over and has someone not the president goes over and speaks with Putin, that I foresee could be a problem. Where is our quote unquote dispute with China?
Taiwan.
Not yet.
Yeah. That's true. Not yet. But you could also say economically, right? We're economic rivals in a way. So there's no like hot dispute with them.
Economically, they fucking own us.
Well, yeah. Yeah.
It's weird. It's strange. I don't understand why, like, I don't understand why he would be doing something like that.
He's a sitting governor.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Like, what are you gaining from that conversation as the governor of California?
Yeah, like it would be one thing if Christ, I don't know any former governors that like are retired now. Michael Dukakis, right? From Massachusetts, right? Like it would be one thing if Michael Dukakis went to China to meet with them. He's a former governor. He's no longer in politics, right? So like, is it weird? Yeah, it's weird. But like, okay, is it still a violation of the Logan Act? Potentially, yeah. But like Gavin Newsom is a sitting governor of the state of California, and he left his state to go have some sort of talk or negotiation, right? It depends on how you want to define the word negotiation, right? I guess we could be lawyers and do that whole thing. But what the fuck? Like, why? Why is he not doing his job as the governor of California?
Okay. He didn't have to go to China to not do his job as a governor of California.
Yeah. It's true.
And didn't Tulsi go over and have a conversation with Syria? Assad, is that his name? That was a couple years ago. She got all sorts of shit for doing that.
Did she?
I'm pretty sure.
Was she a sitting congresswoman?
Yes. Yes, when she was running for president.
Huh.
Hold on. Talk amongst yourselves.
Yeah, I don't know if it's. Yeah, I don't know. If she was a sitting congresswoman, then what are you doing? Right. I mean,
check myself real time here.
The one small pass would be if she was running for president, right? She was actively campaigning for president.
This was, I'm sorry, 2017. So she was not running for president. She was just a congresswoman.
Okay. When did she leave office? 2020?
2020.
Or 2018?
Yeah, because she was not going to renew. That's not the right word. Go for re-election when she decided she was going to run for president. She made that determination. She was not going to go back and do the Congress thing.
Yeah.
So, yeah, 2017, she met with Assad in Syria. And you got, not that we're warring with Ukraine, certainly, but you just had Chris Christie go over and meet with Zelensky in Ukraine. Boots on the ground.
So is this a more common thing than?
Well, again, I think the Chris Christie example, not exactly the same, obviously, because we're certainly not in a dispute with Ukraine, but
right.
I don't know. it's just weird. I don't understand it.
It is weird, right? And if I'm wrong, right, which I very well could be, like this could be a pretty common thing. Still though, something sits weird with me that it's the governor of a state, right? Because governors are effectively the president of a state, right? Like you don't work for the federal government as a governor. Right. You're an employee of the state of California. If you were a senator or if you were a congressman or a congresswoman, maybe it is more common than I knew, right? Like,
dude, I have a feeling they go over all the time. Now, Are they going to Iran? No.
Right.
Or not as often, but like, let's forget about the legality or not legal. We're not lawyers.
Because there are some things like there's like the Foreign House Committee, right? Like if someone sits on the committee for foreign affairs, like I'm sure they travel to other countries all the time because
there's ambassadors to whatever countries and whatever. But yeah, it doesn't make a lot of sense where to oversimplify it, the czar of a state is going to speak with China.
Right.
What the fuck would China do for his state that wouldn't go through federal channels first? Nothing. Last I heard, I don't think states can individually
broker deals with other countries.
Yeah. Plus, what are you going to get in return? Pollution? You already have plenty.
Yeah.
Or like you're gonna go over there and convince them like not to like kill all non-firstborn girls or whatever the fuck they do.
Yeah, or stop the Uyghur genocide.
Okay. I mean, other than like California, the state of California is like the 4th or 5th biggest economy in the entire world. So other than that, like I don't know.
Plus, this guy's a fucking tool, so it's like, what are you doing?
Is a tool.
They're all tools.
Well, that's true. I went on a big fucking rant about that at work.
Were people trying to like play favorites with politicians?
No, someone mentioned, they were like, well, what if I get into politics? I'm like, oh, I kind of like you. I go, then I'd have to fucking hate you. It's like, well, what if I act on your behalf? I'm like, but you'd be a politician, so I'd have to not like you. I go, plus, what are you going to do on my behalf? I have like 3 demands that no one will ever meet.
Yeah.
1, we need to stay in daylight savings year round. You make that happen, then we can talk. After that, I don't know. I got to like really think about like what problems I have at the federal level.
Get rid of taxes. Just make one.
Yeah, but that's the thing. You can't just get rid of taxes.
Well, no, like make taxes make more sense, right? Because I mean, we've talked about this before, but there's a meme. There's always been a meme circulating on social media where it's like, you pay when it comes to like excise tax for like owning a car or like property or something, you pay a tax on an entity that you own, that you purchased and paid sales tax on with money that you paid income tax on. So it's like 3 levels of taxes, right? Like you pay income tax first, and then you buy a car. You pay sales tax on the purchase of the car, and then you have to pay excise tax on the car because you own a car. So it's 3 different levels of taxes with money that's been taxed 3 times. Between, like I said, the income, the sales.
Makes perfect sense, dude.
And then the excise. Like, what the fuck? Like, that's totally unnecessary.
No, it's a stroke job.
Yeah. Yeah, no, we're definitely going to, we're going to need to tax everyone that owns a car.
You know why? Hey, you know why roads. That is, right?
Don't you want good roads? Motherfucker, all of us that pay excise tax, the roads suck. So, I mean, if we just all stopped paying excise tax, how much worse can the roads get?
You'd be surprised.
I mean, well, then you'd have companies like Domino's that would step in and fix the potholes themselves. And then that's true, like, libertarianism, where, like, you privatize everything.
I would say where we rely on Domino's to fix the roads.
Dude, if the roads are fucked, Amazon would get on that immediately because their business would flush down the toilet if they couldn't deliver their shit.
Right. So, I mean, there is a case to be made for some libertarian principles, but, I mean, not all of them. I mean, completely disbanding the education department is like, I mean, yes, I fucking hate the education system, but like, would not having one be better?
No.
Yeah, I don't think so.
No. Because as bad as this one is, like, and as stupid as these kids are, at least they learn something.
Do they, Bob? Do they?
They learn, listen, it's something. And I mean something in the most minimal of minimal.
They learn how to do math by drawing lines now.
Yeah, they barely do math.
Yeah, I'm in that world right now. I have no fucking idea what's going on.
Yeah, with like the lattice math or like weird whatever.
None of it makes sense.
Yeah, I'm like, why can't we just do like 10 times 12 is 120? Like, why do I need to like
tens were easy,
draw a line and then carry this number and split this? It's like doing art. It's like drawing an art project for math. Like, no, just fucking memorize the numbers, right? Like, that's how we all did it. That's how I did it.
My kid is in 3rd grade right now, and we are approaching that threshold where I'm going to be obsolete in terms of being able to help with work.
Because that's the thing, right? Like, you know the answer, like, you know the math.
I don't know how,
but like the teachers want them to follow like a certain protocol. Yeah, it's so stupid. Oop, show your work.
Yeah, but they've been doing that since we were in school.
8 times 4, it's 24. Yeah, but you need to show me that you know how to do that.
Want to try that one again?
30. Right. It's 32. It's 32.
What were you saying about the education system there, Bob?
I wasn't a math teacher.
They're learning something.
I was a math.
You were a math teacher.
I was a math teacher. I did teach math for like a month, 7th grade, and that was like the dumb shit that I had to teach them. It was like weird shit. I don't know. It just, you know what I mean? It's one of those like.
Yeah, I feel like 6th grade's where that shit starts to turn, and it goes.
It does get
goofy.
Yep.
It gets goofy in the 7th grade because there's certain things like world history. Like, some of world history does not need to be taught, where you could continue doing social studies for a little bit longer. Like, no one needs to know about fucking Mesopotamia. I'm sorry. That is a waste of fucking time.
Bob, we need to learn from our mistakes. We need to know our history.
Okay, what mistake? What mistake did Mesopotamia make that we learned from? Because I can't tell you shit about it except fucking Siddhartha
Gautama. Yeah,
was the book about fucking ancient Mesopotamia.
Yeah. Well, they gave, was it Mesopotamia? They gave was Hammurabi and the Hammurabi's code.
Doesn't matter. Like I fucking took these shit. I don't remember this shit.
I remember that. I don't know.
I remember why Napoleon fell. Try to invade Russia in winter. Don't do that.
Yeah. No one learns. No one learns not to fight Russia in the fucking middle of winter.
I don't know what Harambe has to do with any of this.
But he gave us 10 laws in Babylon.
Oh. Yeah, like what? Like, so that's the thing is, like, you could easily continue social studies for a little bit longer and just teach taxes, the IRS.
Yeah.
Instead of memorizing the presidents. That's useless.
Yeah. Like James Van Buren.
The only one that people remember is Martin Van Buren was 8th.
James Buchanan. That was and Martin Van Buren.
I had to memorize the presidents when I was a freshman in college. That was part of my.
You take civics?
No, it was a it was some kind of history. It was like Mexican American history. I'm not.
It's a weird exercise for that class.
Mm-hmm. Did you have to also memorize the Mexican presidents?
Sure didn't. Nope. Yeah, that was part.
So I was gonna, because once you get to college, all bets are off. Because whatever class you're in, and sometimes you have choices, sometimes you don't. Whatever, like all bets are off there. But like, again, like 7th graders learning about ancient civilizations that don't exist and are not relevant now, useless.
Yeah, or like you don't need to spend an entire year on it.
But that's the thing. You learn about all the different things, and it's like, oh, we're gonna go over the Byzantine era now, and it's like, great. We're gonna cover.
What fucking
schools
did you guys go to?
Yeah.
Medford Public.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like they go over like world history in freshman and sophomore, like the entire history of the fucking world. They try doing it in 2 years and tell me that that's like a worthwhile thing. Waste of time.
Yeah. Like the Ottoman Empire, which went to like 1942.
I think those fucks started daylight savings. Fuck them.
Yeah. Fuck them.
I think it was wartime.
Fuck the Turks too. While we're at it. Fucking
that's the thing.
They
like,
genocided the Armenians.
But like, never mind. Like,
allegedly.
So that's something that gets glossed over.
Yeah.
Because it's like.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's the thing. So I agree with you in the sense of like world and ancient history is useless the way it's currently taught.
Yes.
Because they don't go into anything that's like considered taboo, I guess, right? Like,
and then like I would also argue that it's also short-sighted to think that you can learn the lessons you need to learn. So like take the Roman Empire. I'm sure there's a lot to learn from the Roman Empire. How the fuck is a freshman in high school going to learn a lot from the Roman Empire? It's not possible.
Yeah.
But probably wouldn't be a bad thing to spend a month going over the history of Israel and Palestine, especially because they fight every 6 months. And now it's becoming this big rallying cry that people don't understand.
Or they could just go back and listen to episode 502 from Sarcasm Speaks, where we covered it.
I tell the kids all the time, I'll teach them more valuable shit than they'll learn in school.
It's not wrong. But there's like a lot of stuff when it comes to like ancient history too that is I don't know, disputed, I guess. But just because it's disputed doesn't mean that you can't still teach it and just let the kids know that like, listen, like none of this has been proven, but like there's some people that think this, right? So like the first thing I think of with ancient history is Graham Hancock, right? Like his Ancient Apocalypse series on Netflix. He's been on Rogan a bunch of times.
He was just on.
I actually just finished that episode yesterday, and I'm moving into the PBD episode next. Ooh. But he talks about like his some of his theories are like the Younger Dryas theory, which is sometime between like 10 and 12,000 years ago, the Earth got absolutely fucking obliterated by a bunch of comets and asteroids, right? Like, and it wiped out civilization all over the globe, and that they think there was an advanced civilization on Earth prior to that got wiped out because of there was like 1,000 years of just fucking comets just pelting the fucking Earth. So there was
glorious.
Yeah, I know, right? Seriously, why can't we get that now?
When is that coming?
But like people don't want to talk about that because modern archaeology is like, oh no, that's not true. We know for a fact that the pyramids were built 4,700 years ago. But someone like Graham Hancock comes around and goes, yeah, but there's things inside the pyramid that are like 12,000 years old. So like, how can the pyramid be, you know what I mean? Like they find these things and they're tying it all in, like Göbekli Tepe, which is in, I think it's Turkey. It's like this massive underground fucking civilization that was built like as a cave system. And that's like 11,000 years old. And it's like it all traces back to this one thing. And it's like, you can teach kids about that. Like, that's interesting, right? Like that shit's cool that like, 12,000 years ago, the Earth started getting hit by fucking meteors and comets and people died off. And some people built this like massive underground city and they lived there for 1,000 years. And then after that 1,000 years, they came back out and like restarted civilization.
You know what that would be great for? A college elective or like a writing intensive or a speaking intensive or something like that. I'm telling you right now, a 7th, 8th to 12th grader, they don't need to know that shit. It's fucking irrelevant. What would make a lot more sense is figuring out, like, again, things that are relevant today or things that happen in history that can be now, like, make the link, make the connection, like, or there's just some things in history like the Holocaust. That's, you know what? People should just fucking know that.
Yeah.
Like,
well, that would require teachers to actually understand that what a Nazi really is, and it's not someone that just doesn't agree with you.
Right. Yeah, okay, maybe it's less relevant now.
You don't agree with me? Oh, it's because you're a Nazi. Oh, you're a fascist. I don't quite think you understand what those two things mean.
I mean, the Big Lebowski did accuse people of being fascist, and that was like 1996, so that's not really new.
Yeah, that's fair.
Have you guys registered for the Selective Service? You all set with that? Everything good?
I mean, I was automatically signed up when I registered to vote however many years ago.
Okay, I just want to make sure. Your country needs you.
They don't want me. They don't want me.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't have any skills.
It's irrelevant.
I'm a 31-year-old with fucking no real world skills.
Your country and also countries we send billions of dollars to need you.
What's the cutoff? Is it 35?
I don't know.
I don't even know. I mean, I'm so useless. I registered when I was 18 and my shit expired because I never voted. But that's my voting registration. I don't know about the other one.
You've never voted?
What was the Melo, do you remember what the threshold was at 10 years? Because remember we looked up my status, and it said something like if you hadn't voted, it was either 10 years or like 3 elections.
Yeah, I think it was 3 cycles.
And then what happens? I'm not familiar with this. What happens?
So technically, I'm not registered to vote.
They just give Joe Biden your vote.
But if I show up day of, I am allowed to vote.
Interesting. But you've never voted.
But I've never voted.
That's fascinating. Are you taking a stand?
No, I just
uninterested.
Generally speaking, Massachusetts is tough because no matter what I do, no matter who I go for, no matter what, it's going to be the Democrat. And even if I thought that my vote mattered in Massachusetts, usually it's one asshole against another asshole. So all I'm going to do is just show up and vote for a third asshole.
Don't you guys have a Republican governor now, or like had one?
We had one.
We did. Yeah. We've actually more often than not had a Republican governor over the last like 35 years.
What a turnaround for your state, man. Fucking 200 and however many years ago that was, almost 300 years ago. You guys were chucking tea in the harbor, and now you're
far cry, dude.
Elizabeth Warren is just
yeah. Yeah, now everything needs to be free.
Oh my god.
And if you don't agree with me, I'm going to scream in your face and call you a Nazi.
Such a turn.
Yeah. And we need higher taxes so we can pay people to do stuff that's not going to actually do anything.
Yeah, I think it's I think some of the things that have happened lately, the rich are definitely bad. I don't know where we stand as a state. I don't know if cops are bad or not. I'm kind of confused.
Always.
I haven't heard much lately.
Always.
I guess it depends what's going on in the news, like whatever.
Those firefighters though. They're awesome. They're awesome. They're the real heroes.
The poor people are a problem, but like we can't make it a problem. Traffic laws, that's not a thing. You don't need to pay attention to those if you're a member of local government.
Yeah.
What else is going on? Do we have like a shitload of people that are in support of Palestine and a shitload of people that are in support of Israel?
Probably.
Yeah. What was the reproductive justice means free Palestine? Was that in Boston? Did you see that?
Yeah,
Did you send me that?
Yeah, that was pretty fucking hilarious.
What?
And there was one that was like LGBT plus
Oh God.
for Palestine.
Yeah.
And it's like,
Someone didn't do their homework on that culture.
Someone definitely didn't do their homework. Because then I saw there was another thing that I might have sent you guys, but I don't know. Or maybe Vinny sent it to me on Twitter or something. But it was a woman in an airport that was holding up a sign that said like free tickets to Palestine for anyone that's LGBT. It's like, go ahead, go over there.
Yeah,
I'll pay for your ticket to go over there. It was pretty good. I feel like I don't know if I'll be able to find it. It was definitely between me and Vinny. Oh yeah. It's a woman holding a sign that says free LGBTQ plus influencer trip to Gaza. Sign up at, and then it's an Arabic name. It's like whatever. It's pretty fucking hilarious.
What could go wrong?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, if you're in that support, like, head on over. Go help.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just, I feel like people just do the opposite of whatever the other side of the aisle is doing right now. What I mean, like, we've gotten to that point in society where we've lost all critical thinking, all independent thought. It's, I'm a staunch Democrat and Republicans are talking about supporting Israel, so fuck them.
Yeah,
I support Palestine.
Yep.
And it's like, well, aren't you a fucking non-binary, gay, fucking furry? Well, yeah. Do you know that you probably wouldn't be accepted in Palestine? No, that's not true. I support Palestine. You know what I mean? Like, it's just like, I don't. We've lost it. We've completely lost it. We've lost the, like I said, the critical thought piece of it's no more like, oh, what does this group stand for? It's like, oh no, the people on that side said X. Well, then I support Y.
Therefore, I must support Y.
Yeah.
Regardless of.
Yes, regardless of any logical leaps or like anything like that. It's just, nope, I'm this now. I support this.
It's also crazy to me that this one specifically, people without a dog in the fight, and I mean a real dog in the fight, are picking a side.
A 22-year-old white non-binary former female fucking whatever. Right?
Couldn't be more irrelevant to the two parties involved in that war.
Couldn't be any less involved in this conflict.
Yet they pick a side.
Yeah.
And it's like, this one specifically, picking a side does no benefit to you. That's why, unless you're on a side, I highly recommend not picking one. But hey, that makes me a fucking bigot.
I will pick a side. And my side is going to be, keep my money in the fucking United States. That's it. That's the side. I don't care.
Oh, yeah. No, see, the side that I was talking about was you either have to pick Israel or Palestine.
No. No.
Because I like that side.
If they would like to fight using their own money, you know, if they could get a second or third job to afford their war, and they can buy their own weapons and defense systems and lasers and all the other shit that's going on, that's fine. But I don't go to work every day so that they can, you know, have lasers. So
lasers.
Sharks with laser beams attached to their freaking heads. They're on the water. We talked about that.
It's some goats with laser beams attached to their heads. Whatever the fuck they have going on.
The goats would take over if that was the case.
It's probably true.
Yeah. Yep. But yeah, no, I mean, I completely agree with that, right? Like, fuck everybody else. Doesn't matter, right? Like, keep your money here.
We got problems here.
Yeah. And isn't it hilarious that the I don't know, the dude who just got elected Speaker of the House finally for the Republicans.
Well, we have one of those now?
Yeah, we finally have one.
Wow.
But it's like some
Congress
random guy who like came out of left field. The first thing he said in his speech was, now we have to support Israel.
Oh,
and it's
God.
like, what the fuck, dude? Like, what are we doing?
Do I need to get a defund Israel shirt? Like,
yeah. We should make shirts that say defund Israel on the front and defund Palestine on the back.
Nailed
but
it,
like,
right there.
yeah. Like, what? Why? The first thing he was like, well, now we have to go in and support Israel.
They don't need our help.
No.
They probably don't want it either. I mean, they'll take it, but like,
yeah,
they ain't calling us being like, yo, what are you guys doing on Wednesday? And it's like, man, we got nothing. It's like, want to come help? Yeah, I think we can.
Yeah.
They're just sitting there like, we'll just fucking blow them up like we always do every 6 months.
Yeah, it's just.
I would wear that shirt. I mean, wearing right now. Dude, the fucking looks in public that I get wearing this shirt. So many people have come up to me like, where the fuck did you get that? Where'd that shirt come from? But at the same time, I do get a lot of side eyes and, you know, whatever. But
it's all right because it's becoming not in vogue anymore. We're moving away from the Ukraine war, and now it's Israel.
Style here.
Yeah, yeah. I said that in one of the episodes recently. I was like, isn't it fucking convenient that the second Ukraine starts to stop being popular, like 2 days later, there's a fucking conflict with Israel and Palestine, and now it's all over the news, right? And it's like, who do you think is really fucking driving all this shit? It's, again, the Raytheons, the fucking Boeing, General Dynamics. It's all those cunts.
If only Jeffrey Epstein were alive.
Yeah, he would know what to do.
Find out what the fuck is going on.
Imagine if he was the link between Israel and the US to like, well, Jeffrey Epstein's over there. He's gonna figure this all out.
That needs to be a South Park episode. They just did one. Whatever their latest episode was that came out, I've seen people are reposting clips all over Twitter being like, South Park does it again. South Park is amazing. I forget what it was about. It was about Disney. so in one of the South Park episodes, Cartman is talking about like he has a dream, and in his dream, it's everyone from South Park, and they're all replaced by diverse people. So like Cartman is like a Black woman, and Kenny is like a Latino woman, and like all the like everyone is just a different, like it's all diversity. And then it like falls apart, and then he goes, in my dream, Bob Iger is losing Disney and the stock is crashing and no one knows why. And they're just like, they go to Kathleen Kennedy, and Kathleen Kennedy says, we need more diversity. And it just like goes and goes and goes. And it's pretty fucking hilarious.
How old's that episode?
Like this week, I think. Okay. It's like, I think it's only like a couple days old. Yeah, whenever. I don't know when South Park comes out. Is it like Sunday nights maybe, or Friday nights, Thursday, Friday nights?
Having this conversation, I've not seen an episode of South Park in
a long time.
Yeah,
probably since I was in high school.
It's so long.
Yeah, but they're great. Speaking of South Park, I saw a video. I think Jones might have sent it to me. It was Trey Parker and Matt Stone at like the.
But you sent this to me too. It was the 2000.
The 2000 Oscars.
Yeah.
And they dropped acid before they went to the Oscars, and they wore dresses.
I remember
just
that.
Just to fuck with people. And they were high on acid the entire time. And they were talking about how like during the award show, they start to come down and they're like, oh, this fucking sucks. This is fucking awful. And there's like other people there that are like stuck up, like, we worked all year and we're hard for this. And this is what we're excited for. And these two guys are like, fuck you. Like, this is terrible. And then they had Robin Williams perform Blame Canada on stage.
Oh my God.
At the Oscars. That was
I thought
good.
He crushed it.
Yeah, I did too. But yeah, like those, I mean, they're still awesome. Like Matt Parker and Trey Stone.
Try again.
Matt Stone, Trey Parker.
Yep.
Yeah. I'm just good at switching things back and forth. It's all that sleep I've been getting.
Yeah, were you drinking your tea over there earlier?
I was. Yeah, I was. I was drinking that before.
Your dirt juice?
Yeah.
It looks like.
It kind of tastes like it until you add something into it. You got to add something for flavor. I mean, I've been drinking it long enough now where like it doesn't matter.
Yeah, you're up from like 3 to 7, 3 to 8, whatever the fuck it is.
Yeah, I mean, he's finally sleeping a little bit. So I mean, at this point we get like 5 or 6 hours. Like he'll sleep from 10 to like 4:30.
That's okay.
Yeah.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, it's almost a night's sleep.
Yep. Yeah. So we're getting there.
For now.
We're getting closer. Yeah, I know, right?
Till he really learns how to use those vocal cords.
Yeah, then he's like, fuck you. Like 1:30. Well, I mean, that's what it was. It was every 2 hours, like around the clock, 24/7, every 2 hours. He was like, give me the fucking food. Let's go. So we're past that part. I don't know. Everyone keeps telling me it gets better. Literally everyone I talk to is like, dude, it gets better. Don't worry. You're past the worst part. The worst part is the first month.
Dude, it's waves. It's up and down. It'll get better.
Yeah,
then it'll go backwards and you'll be like, what the fuck? And then it'll get better. And it's all, you know.
It's always, I mean, that's the thing though. It's always something as an outsider, as a no-time child haver, as an outsider, all I can do is observe what happens. And then it's like, okay, so you get into a nice groove. And then the kid gets a little bit older and it's like, then they either yell or they scream or they're like on the move or whatever.
It's another fucking.
Yeah. Then they get a little bit older and now they start getting sick. And it's like, that's a whole thing. It's always fucking something.
And wait till he can talk and, not directly or maybe directly, depending on what his language is, but tell you to fuck yourself. And see how that goes.
Don't touch that.
Oh, this? Yep. Hey, don't climb that. Oh,
roger that. This? Climbing.
Yep. Got it. I'm gonna climb the bookcase.
Don't eat that. Already ingested.
Yep. Literally had the conversation exactly of that today. Walking through Best Buy, and we're walking by like. You can push the buttons to like activate the speakers so you can hear the sound coming out of whatever speaker. And so we walk by, he starts pushing buttons. We're like, all right, stop pushing buttons. We're not doing this. No less than 3 more buttons were pushed before we fucking.
Yeah, it's like Elf in the elevator.
Yeah.
Just.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm going to do what I want.
What am I going to do?
Yeah, that's the other thing.
Yeah, you can't just grab him by the ankle and carry him out.
No. Not anymore.
Yeah. It's not 1997.
Well, he's a little heavier now, so.
Right.
Yeah. Well, that and, someone would freak out.
Depends on where.
I said it. I
feel like Walmart, you'd be fine.
Yeah, you're fine.
There's no rules in that place.
Yeah, no, you're good.
It's like the purge.
I've said this before to people as like a joke, but like with my previous job, I didn't work for DCF, but I worked alongside them. And I was like, people really don't understand that all you have to do is just not answer your door. So like if DCF ever happens to like show up at your front door for whatever reason, if you don't answer, they'll just leave.
Hey,
Yeah, I don't think they have a battering ram to take the doors.
Yeah, like they're not the police, right? It's not the police that are like.
Hot tip for you, Bob. That's any government agency unless I got a warrant. So
exactly, yeah.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, just don't answer the door. Like they might come back a couple times, but like eventually they'll stop showing up. They'll essentially just mark your case as the equivalent of like continued without a finding.
Yeah.
Yeah, there are some circumstances where that may not go well for you, but
sure, yeah, like
take your chances. It depends on what they're there for, but for the most part, you're only gonna fucking sink your own battleship if you open that door.
Yeah.
Well, I tried not to open the door in the dorms.
Yeah, it's the same thing when you're in the dorms and someone's knocking on your door.
You had a little less rights because the RA could open the door.
Yeah, it's a little different.
So I always tried to open the door, like, yeah, I'll come out and talk to you. They're like, no, we'll come in. I go on my way out.
Yeah,
like kind of like weasel in.
Yeah.
Oh, left my key in the room. We're locked out. Oh, we can open it. No need.
No, you're good. I was just gonna
walk and talk.
Yeah, I was just gonna head to the dining hall anyway. Oh, great timing. I was on my way to ECC. Let's go. I
don't know how exactly that works on college campus because there is that still right to privacy.
Yeah, it really, so you lose your privacy with suspicion. And so when we, like, there's been times where an RA in an office, I think it was always an RA and 2 officers. I think that was the protocol. They came to the door and they're like, we have a complaint. Can we come in? And it's like, no. It's like, okay, we have whatever, like, what are you guys doing in here? Like, line of questioning.
Playing Monopoly.
Yeah, there might
that did happen.
Yeah, I know.
There might be a condition that's something that's written into like I don't know if it's a student handbook at college, but essentially be like, sure, you can refuse entry for an RA or for whoever, but if you do that, we're gonna pull your housing. Like, I'm sure
so you actually
written into it. Like, you may not legally get in trouble, but through the school you might like.
We actually had more rights in the dorm rooms than you would think, because I think it has something to do with it is a residence hall, like you live there.
Yep.
If you were in like a classroom, fuck it, you get nothing. But like, so one of the times we got bagged for drinking in the dorms, I was in a double with a friend of mine, and the officers looked at me and they go, "Can we search your side?" I go, "No." And then my roommate said yes. And I'm like, why the fuck did you just say yes? I just said no. Why the fuck did you just say yes? I go, they're gonna fucking find shit. Like, that was not fucking intelligent. And then, like, so they start looking around and they start going towards my fridge. I go, no, that's my fridge. I said no. Yeah. And they're like, okay, well, what else in this room is yours? I go, that.
In college. Good for you, bud. I like that.
Now, luckily, my older roommate led the way, because he goes, nope, can't search my room. I'm like, fuck that. You no way. You can't search my room either. I'm like, nope, that's mine. I said no.
You were free stating back and forth. It was cool.
Didn't even know it. Probably just drunk.
Just drunk and didn't want to get caught.
Yep.
Total self-preservation, but hey.
Yeah, that is interesting. Of like where does it end on a college?
Yeah, well, then and then if the reason they were in the room that time is because when I cracked the door to come out, I was like, no, I'll come out. It's cool. Like, well, we got a thing that you guys were drinking. No, that's not us. And like, as I cracked the door, someone didn't get rid of one of the cans, so it was like over my shoulder.
Yeah,
and she spotted it.
See something,
and then she goes, "Well, I can see that, so we're coming in." I go, "Oh, fuck."
Yeah.
Or if they like smelled alcohol in your breath or something, that would be.
Yeah, I forget what the rule. Yeah, because I think I could have argued that like I just got back, so it's like I was out, whatever. I don't know.
Yeah, that's a
long time ago.
Yeah. Yeah, it turns out like no one really gives a shit about anything that happens to you in college, even like at Bridgewater when they did the whole like, oh, Bridgewater cops are state police or whatever. It's a division of the state police and all that. Because like when I originally filed for my LTC back in Mansfield, which I think I have to renew soon. I think I have to renew it in 2024.
You live in a real state, brother.
Yeah, I know, right? It's fucking bullshit. Well, we might be getting rid of that soon if the Supreme Court rules the way that everyone thinks they might. But because I got arrested in college as a minor in possession of alcohol, just because it was in my dorm room. And it was St. Patrick's Day. And I had to go to court in Brockton, and they just gave me like a continue without a finding. And they
I actually think you paid $300 and it got dismissed.
No, I didn't have that option. They changed that for me.
Okay, because I brought someone, I gave someone a ride.
Yeah.
And they were like, hey, it's $300 in court fees, and then the charges get dismissed or
no, I had to go.
If they were dismissed, you wouldn't be paying anything. So
I had to go to an alcohol class for like 6 weeks in Brockton, where I would like
did not
sit in a trailer in Brockton with people that were like legitimate addicts.
Did you fit in?
No, I was like a 19-year-old kid, and my gay roommate, who was like 18, he was a year younger than me. We went to this class, and we're sitting there like, what the fuck? There's people, it's Brockton, like people that are like ex-heroin addicts and like real alcoholics and shit. And we're just like, yeah, we're here because we got arrested for drinking on campus. And everyone was like, okay, all right, whatever. And they just kind of like left us alone. But it was super fucking sketchy.
You guys were the fucking narcs in that class.
Yeah, I know. But anyway, so when
you got fucking banged on that one.
Yeah,
because the guys didn't have to deal with that.
They changed the policy.
Yeah, it's hard to remember now because it was at least 12, 13 years ago. But I do remember it was like there was no arraignment. There was never had to meet with a judge or lawyer, nothing. It was literally just show up, paid $300, and I don't know what happened to the charge.
Yeah. So I got a quaff, and then, but what I was saying was
you pled guilty. That's what
happened. When I went for my LTC, like one of the questions on the list is, have you ever been arrested? And I was like, I can't lie. So I said yes. And then like it came up during like the process, and the woman was like, oh, what did you get arrested for? And I was like, I was 19 in college and I got arrested for minor in possession of alcohol. And she lauged at me. She was like, oh, that's nothing. That doesn't count.
Yeah, let's cross that out.
It's the same level of offense as like a speeding ticket. So
yeah.
At least up here anyway. So.
But like, it's one of those things where like, I wasn't going to lie. Cause like, what if they actually looked it up and they saw a quaff on my record?
They did see it.
That's a crime, Bubba. You can't do that.
Yeah, exactly. So like, I have to at least put it on and we can have a laugh about it. But like, but I'm not going to say no. I've never been arrested because I have.
The thing. You definitely don't want to lie on your paperwork you're submitting to the government that says anything. I swear that this information is true and accurate to my best recollection.
Yeah.
Definitely don't lie. Lie any other time, but if you're signing something, definitely don't lie.
Yeah, definitely don't do that. But I got a fun thing here before we wrap things up. Unless you got anything else you wanna hit on.
I got nothing.
So I'm gonna go out on a limb here and assume that you like coffee, right?
Me?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
I love coffee. I drink coffee every single day, sometimes twice a day.
A pot of coffee every single day.
Bob, I know you like coffee.
I've been known to like coffee.
Yeah. So here we are.
I don't like what it says about me because now I remember where you're going with this.
Did you know that if you drink coffee, you're a racist?
I didn't have to drink coffee to know that.
Am I a racist or a white supremacist or both?
Both.
I'm both. That's impressive.
So there was there's an article out there at I don't know what the fucking AFRU, whatever AFRU, whatever that is. The title of this article is Coffee Racist? How drinking coffee perpetuates white supremacy.
I drink it black, bro.
Me too.
I'm so confused.
Yeah. And then the subheading says created by black people for black people and now a pillar of white supremacist capitalism. If you consume coffee, you're helping an industry built on racism.
Sorry, I'm going to hang myself with this fucking Jesus Christ. Is this from is this like African coffee, like Ethiopian and
I don't know. I think it's just coffee in general. About? It doesn't specify.
Nope. All right.
Like I did like the follow-up meme that you or someone sent where it was like scientists fear that by the end of 2024 people will run out of things to call racist.
Yeah, did I send that to you today?
At some point.
Yeah, that was pretty good. That was good, solid.
Is that Babylon B? Who was it?
Yeah, I think it was Babylon
B. Oh my god.
It was either them or the Onion.
Yeah.
Although it's probably the B because I think the Onion has trickled onto more liberal territory.
Wokeism.
Yeah. So yeah, coffee is racist, and I haven't read the article, but just
send it to me because I want to know.
A quick thing here. It's like the very first paragraph in the article. If you're a person of color, you know what I'm talking about. You walk into a new coffee shop and your senses are overwhelmed with whiteness, and you get the glare from the Karens.
This is
the white hipster barista. Yeah. The white hipster barista lines herself up between you and the bathrooms, ready to tell you non-customers aren't welcome. That's the first paragraph.
How old is this article?
There's no date on it.
Oh. Sorry, I mean,
but
also,
what the fuck, man? How?
Also, hold on. None of that actually has anything to do with coffee, right? You've not said anything about coffee itself yet.
Right.
That's walking into a coffee shop.
Yeah.
Where white people hang out.
Yeah.
Okay.
And also, let's try and figure this out a little bit better, huh? I'm assuming the person writing this is a black person, right? About probably a Starbucks, right?
I'm assuming that it's a white woman writing the
article. I would lean that way too.
Well, regardless, right? If you are a black person and you walk into a Starbucks in the Newton Highlands, right? You might see something like what was just described. If you're a black person and you walk into Dunkin' Donuts in Dorchester, that situation that was just described is not happening. If you go to a Starbucks in Dorchester, a Starbucks in Mattapan, Jamaica Plain, that's not happening. Right? So it's like your issue in this scenario that you described would seem to place you in a white affluent area that is probably racist. Right? So
I'm still not making the coffee connection. This is a coffee show. We're not coffee itself. Unless I'm missing something. I thought you were going in a direction of the farming of the beans in Ethiopia.
Yeah, but I was gonna say because a lot of that's in Africa and the Caribbean.
Yeah. I mean,
because then I go at that rate, then diamonds are racist and bananas probably.
Avocados.
That's Mexican though.
Yeah, that's Mexican.
Oh, they're run by the cartel. The avocado trade is run by the cartel now.
Can't be racist. Sorry.
So it's then later on, it goes, well, I'm here to validate your lived experience. Coffee is in fact horribly racist, and there's data to back it up. Where's the fucking data? Because this is the fifth paragraph.
Hopefully they tell us
of the article.
If you
where's
were in
the
conversation with someone that says I'm going to validate your lived experience, fucking
Just open up my fucking veins now.
Eject immediately.
Those shots of bleach all around.
Oh God. Gonna validate your lived experience. Oh my God. Fuck.
Yeah.
Right off.
I would Kurt Cobain myself in a fucking second.
Oh.
I would figure out how to do it.
Imagine the balls that you need to have to say, I'm going to validate your lived experience.
But
wouldn't me living it validate the experience? I don't need you fucking clown.
Another podcast of conversation.
I've never even heard that term before, and I don't even.
No, that's a real thing.
I'm sure it is. I don't doubt that.
That's postmodern fucking lived experience subject to
You're in that now. That's what I dealt with for 5 years.
Isn't validating someone's lived experience racist and probably just like makes you a fucking dick?
Also, I want to correct you guys on something. Maybe not correct you, because I did listen to the episode you're talking about Kurt Cobain blowing his brains out. He pulled the trigger with his toe. We know this, right? That's what happened.
It's very easy to do that.
That's what happened. He pulled the trigger with his toe.
Yeah.
Anyway, I was like screaming at my fucking phone listening to that. Anywho, sorry.
Anyway,
tell me more about racist coffee.
Yeah, I don't know. I still haven't.
Yeah, actually, I don't think we've really scratched the surface on why coffee would be racist.
Yeah.
I think we've definitely established that some people can act like a racist, and then that would be racist, I would say.
Again, this
has nothing to do with coffee.
I'm quickly reading this article, and it's like the history of coffee is both fascinating and tragic. Whatever. Strong black coffee. Why aren't African Americans more prominent in the coffee industry? Again, that's the coffee industry.
It has nothing to do with coffee.
Like. For some, history is a source of empowerment. For others, it's a source of anger, hurt, and shame. It's a well-known fact that whites would be eating bland food like plain bread and gruel if it weren't for their theft of culinary secrets from people of color. This is hilarious, especially black folks. That's precisely why whites found out about coffee. It became one of the reasons they decided to victimize and appropriate black civilization wholesale. I still don't see any data.
There's nothing about coffee in here.
Like, also, that's pretty funny that just as an aside, I don't really give a shit, but I think it's pretty funny that they refer to us as whites. And it's like a seemingly like derogatory term. Like if someone was like to say like blacks, right? Like in a derogatory way, just to be like, oh, the whites, like it's just funny. It's funny.
I find that funny.
Yeah. I find it funny. But to say that like white people would be eating bland food, I think is also pretty funny.
Eating gruel.
Yeah, and gruel, because Mediterranean people are white. Like Italian and Spanish and Greek, they're white. And they have some pretty good fucking food.
Yeah, and you don't want to pull on that thread of their cultures.
But
not pretty.
Obviously, they're referring to the colonization and where.
Yeah, I mean, if
they're talking about British food, they're probably right.
Fucking Irish bangers and mash. Get the fuck out of here!
That's
with your
where I was
bangers
going
and
with
mash.
that. Like, okay, so they are tracking with that, but
yeah, that food does blow.
Yeah, that sucks.
I mean, point taken. That's fair, but still not about coffee.
Yeah, again,
you're not going to take coffee away from me. I will drink my coffee of color, and I will enjoy it.
I'm staying, finishing my coffee.
Yeah, it's just like
in my coffee.
White folks drinking coffee perpetuates gentrification and racism.
See, they're just all they're doing like
they're speaking in platitudes.
Well, no, this is Archer. Are you all just saying random words and things?
Yes. Or I guess writing in platitudes because they're not speaking, but they're just like they're doing that. They're just saying things.
Yeah, without any level of coherence. Yeah, coffee's racist. Hate to see it.
Right. I'm still gonna drink it, so you guys think whatever you want of me.
Oh, I'm unaffected by this news.
Yeah, same. I'm gonna continue to drink. I might just make a cup of coffee right now, actually. But Yeah. I thought that was pretty good. And I wanted to pull up the article. So that being said, do you want to wrap this bitch up?
We can wrap this up.
All right. Chris, you want to lead us off?
I will. So Jared, you'll get there with your child. You'll go through like, I don't know. I really struggled when my kid was like younger. I just don't relate to babies and toddlers and things. So I, as he's gotten older, our relationship has gotten better. Part of that has been the music he now listens to. Okay. So we were in a Zach Brown band phase for a little while. He digs the 1975. He does a couple other like more modern things. Okay. Recently, he's been getting into some heavier stuff. Bob, you'll appreciate this. I was driving with him yesterday, and he says from the back seat, because we always listen to music when we drive in the car together. He says from the back seat, "Dad, can we listen to Seek and Destroy?" I was like, fuck yes, we can. His favorite band right now is Metallica, and not like newer Metallica. We're listening to, like I just said, Seek and Destroy, fucking Fade to Black, and For Whom the Bell Tolls, and Harvester of Sorrow, and I think One's probably his favorite song right now, and it's fucking fantastic. So we just drive around. He's starting to learn guitar too. And I think what kind of kicked this all off is his guitar teacher was teaching him the intro to Enter Sandman. And he's nice. Been fucking all in on Metallica for like the last 3 months, and it's been fucking fantastic.
I was gonna say that's the gateway to even heavier of metals. Because eventually, that's where I kind of got my start too. And then it pretty swiftly moved into the Swedish or melodic death metal. So again, I'm just like fucking crazy person, but just sprinkle it in there. Just stay away from the Norwegian black metal. It's not good. It's bad. This is the thing though. It's bad music. So like if you want to go, it's bad people and they burn down churches and shit for sport. Like, yeah, if the music's good, you can look past some of that stuff. It's fucking Europeans. But the music's not good. So there's always a limit to how far you can go.
Yeah. I'm satisfied with his level of Metallica right now. He actually just got a what the fuck are they? Bearded Dragon, and named his bearded dragon Metallica. So
that's pretty good.
Here we go.
That's all. Yep.
Has he gotten any into like other just guitarists yet? Like whether it's like Hendrix or Santana?
No, his favorite is Mike Dawes, which I'm sure you guys have not heard of. He's like acoustic fingerstyle slapping and all fucking
slapping the bass.
Yeah. No, not he likes he's big into like AC/DC. He loves AC/DC, and he loves Ozzy. So we'll see. He's not like really narrowed it down to specific guitar players yet, but he's definitely like trending towards a more heavy type of music, which is interesting. So
I like it.
I think when I was 8, I was listening to like Michael Jackson and fucking New Kids on the Block. So
yeah, I was gonna say I have no clue. 1998, I could have been listening to fucking anything.
Yeah, 1999.
What was popular in 98? Smash Mouth.
Yep.
Yeah.
That sounds about right.
I think I was probably listening to that. Backstreet Boys.
You're in some
Britney Spears, Sugar Ray. Yeah.
Territory too.
Yep, Limp Bizkit. I had that.
Yep.
The chocolate starfish and hot dog flavored water. I had that CD.
Later.
That's probably like 2000, 2001.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Break Stuff, Nookie.
Yep. Yeah, Green Day.
Together.
No, he loves Green Day too. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, Eminem. I was a big Eminem fan. But
anyways, that was my final thought.
Yeah. That's cool. You know what? That's a kind of interesting and something I've thought about. And because we haven't really gotten there yet as far as like the music world. So like me personally, and I'm sure both of you potentially feel similarly, I think the best music came out of the 70s and the 80s, right? Between like Zeppelin, Queen, The Who, which I know The Who was technically the 60s. They started in the 60s, but they went later. Like all those Rush, like all of those guys, like that's when I think like music peaked. And I've always wondered like what's going to happen with the next generation below us, right? Because my dad listened to all of that. And I grew up, like I said, like you got like listening to Sugar Ray and fucking Smash Mouth and all that. But then once I got to middle school, I was like, I kind of really like Led Zeppelin. And I think Rush is really cool. And like now that I'm 31, like I fucking love Rush. Like it's like one of my favorite bands. But it's like, what's going to happen with my kids' generation? Because then that's going to be like almost
he's
100 years later.
Whatever you listen to. That's all. Like I grew up listening to stuff that my dad listened to. I wholeheartedly disagree with the 70s and 80s being the best music. No.
What was better?
It's the 60s. All day.
Don't give me the Beatles and the Stones.
The Beatles are the greatest band that have ever lived.
Blech.
Okay.
Anyways, I hate the Beatles.
I understand that. But so like I grew up listening to that stuff and then got into like my era of music was like the like grunge rock and like alternative shit from the early to mid 90s. And then so now what I listen to is still that stuff, some newer stuff, but a lot of it is the same shit my dad listened to when I was growing up. So like it's all that.
Well, you also get some of that stuff's a little more timeless. Like no one's gonna listen to
Pink
Disturbed.
Floyd. Like how do I forget Pink Floyd?
No one's gonna listen to Disturbed in 2030. It'll come on gym playlists, but no one's gonna sit there and be like, "Wait a minute, what's this?"
Yeah,
Disturbed. I'm gonna go through their entire album or their entire discography. It's like no one's gonna do that. But the stuff that you're describing, whether it's 60s, 70s, 80s, grunge in the 90s, all that stuff. I'm not going to say it's timeless because as someone who's surrounded by music all day, they have all worn out their welcome with me. But that's me, and that's a specific situation because I'm stuck with that. But all that stuff is timeless and good. Like, no one listens to 1998 Britney Spears now. No one's listening to Christina Aguilera now. Like, it's not relevant
today. No,
right?
Not at all.
And that's the thing is like none of that's relevant. So the stuff that we are talking about, it might be a little bit harder to crack into, but not that hard. And it'll still be that way. Like people.
The reason I bring it up and I think of that is because like no one listens to like the Del Vikings from like the 1950s, right? Like the music that my grandfather listened to, I don't listen to.
It's goofy.
Yeah, but like, so that's why I wonder, like, but then also, like, I don't know if my dad listened to the same music that my grandfather listened to. Probably not. If he was listening to Floyd and Zeppelin and Rush, he probably wasn't listening to Frank Sinatra and the Del Vikings and fucking, you know what I mean? Chuck Berry and those guys, you know, whoever was around in like the 30s.
It wasn't very good.
No, but that shift, and you'll never have what we're talking about now again because of digital music. Like people don't buy full albums anymore; they're just buying songs. So like the shit that we grew up listening to is you would buy the entire album of X, Y, or Z band and listen to the entire album of that band. Who is doing that? No one's downloading full albums of fucking music.
Right?
That's not a thing. They're not, and that's not
unless you're Taylor Swift.
Well. That's not a marketing strategy anymore. Is you're not trying to sell albums, you're just trying to sell songs.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, it was just a thought that I've always had of like, is that music eventually just going to die and go away? Because that sucks.
I would argue that it's probably timeless until you reach like a long time from now.
I would say probably in 20 years the fucking grunge thing is going to be probably gone.
I could see that.
Just because the people that grew up listening to it are all going to be elderly,
And if you really go into some of the grunge stuff, it's not the same as like Led Zeppelin.
No, for sure. No,
so it's like we like it and we appreciate it, but
it's nostalgic to me. But
I think if we could somehow step away and not have the nostalgia of it, I don't know how good we would find a lot of it.
Yeah, I don't know either. I don't know. Time will tell.
Yeah. All right. Well, Bob, you got a final thought? That was a tangent off of
Sorry.
I do, and it'll be fast. So I finally found guanciale, the traditional ingredient that goes into carbonara. It is a cured pork cheek, and most people are like, oh, you can just use pancetta, or you can just use bacon, or you can use anything. Guanciale is fucking good. It is quite good, and this is the only place I've found it. It's not popular, but I would actually say, yeah, it's actually kind of lives up to its reputation. Quite good.
Yeah. That's you've used it multiple times now, right? Have you?
No, I only got it. I only got it yesterday. So I don't know. I've talked about it before because I wanted to find it. That was like I think that might have been my final thought was I'm going to try to track this shit down.
Right.
And then I couldn't. And I just so happened to see it at my Italian spot yesterday. So I got it. And yep, quite good. I just figured it was going to kind of be like next Italian cured meat, but it's actually good.
Your Italian spot, is that like Vito on the corner? Like, what does that mean?
It's Tutto Italiano in Hyde Park. It's a deli and sandwich shop, but it's also got a bunch of like the goofy shit that no one buys, like pasta and pasta makers and like espresso things. So it's like all the grocery stuff no one ever buys, but like everyone, like there's a line out the door for sandwiches in the deli.
Classic, a little Italian store.
Yeah.
All right. I got a final thought.
Well, that's nice of you. Well, I've been doing it 505 times, whatever.
Yeah, I think this is episode 505 or something, 506 maybe. I think we might be nearing the end of Airbnbs. I think we're finally, I think Airbnb is getting close to jumping the shark, or maybe they already jumped the shark. Maybe they jumped the shark during COVID. I think that's when things started getting goofy, because now the amount of money that they charge in fees is absolutely ridiculous. So full disclosure for everyone. I mean, Bob, you know what we're talking about, but we booked Bob's bachelor party trip to Charleston. So there are certain situations like a bachelor party or like a guy's weekend that we do where Airbnb is just the option, right? It's just what you do, whether it's Airbnb or Vrbo. You want to stay in a house. You don't want to stay in a hotel. But like when it comes to just like taking a vacation, right? Like if I were going to travel somewhere in the past, I would always try and stay in an Airbnb. Like I want to stay in a house somewhere in a neighborhood, whatever. Or like if Amy and I were going to go somewhere, we'd look for Airbnbs. I think I'm done with that. Outside of like the situations, again, like a bachelor party or like a guy's trip where it's required, right? When you have big numbers, when you have a lot of people going, you need a house. So you just put up with it. But the amount of fees for the Airbnb that we booked was 40% of the cost. 40%.
I don't know enough about this to really form an opinion other than like if there's a way to exploit that, of course it's going to get exploited. It might have taken a few years for the
And that's why I think COVID screwed it all up, because now what they did during COVID was they inserted a cleaning fee. and now they still charge a cleaning fee.
Yeah.
There you go.
So there's I'm looking at the receipt right now. There's a $200 cleaning fee.
Dude, fuck off.
Well, doesn't that go back to Tim Dillon with the $400 cleaning fee? So he fucking trashed the
place. He left all the dishes in the sink that were dirty. He was like, I'm paying $400.
I'm paying $400 for it to be clean.
Yeah. Like, what is this magical $400 cleaning fee that you're charging me? Like,
yeah. So I think an interesting thing about Airbnb. So I've actually soured on them because personally, I don't like Airbnbs. They make sense with a big group that wants to be together.
Right.
But generally speaking, I don't like them. It's weird. But I also think a lot of people have gotten involved in them who maybe weren't necessarily ready for it. Because if you go back to 2017 and you were going to be like, okay, I'm going to buy a property, say down the Cape or at one of the good destinations in New Hampshire. And I'm Airbnb it. I'm immediately thinking anyone who walks into this place is going to fucking party and fuck shit up. So I'm not going to have nice stuff. I'm not going to put expensive things in. And if they do any real damage, then I'll hit them with it. But I think people kind of missed that idea. And then now it's like they have like nice places. And it's like, oh, well, don't get it dirty. Or like, don't wear your shoes in the house. Or it's like, dude, this is you just booked this to strangers. What did you think was going to happen?
Yeah.
Right.
And it's like, I know we got drilled on that first one when we went to the Cape.
Yeah.
Back actually probably that same year. And it's been good since, but like, I think people may have lost touch of like what to expect when strangers are renting your home or your property.
Right.
No doubt.
Yeah. Yeah, and there's ways around it too, because I think both Airbnb and Vrbo have the option to instant book, and then they have an option to like you need to request it, and then you need to like have some sort of like text conversation with the renter, right? To like they want to know like what you're doing, who's going, because I've done both, right? I've done when we go for guys weekend, I only book an instant book because I'm not going to tell them, there's 8 to 10 guys coming for a weekend.
Yeah. It says 6 and we're bringing 12 and we're going to fill up your trash with beer cans.
But like, you need to know that as a renter, like if you are going to allow your place to be instant booked, right, and not go through a vetting process, then you're going to get that. You're going to get the riffraff. But yeah, it was just nuts to me that 40% in fees and taxes, right? Between the cleaning fee, there's service fees, there's an Airbnb fee, and then there's taxes.
Yep.
Never mind. I put it in there that so many people bought up apartments and stuff like in New York, like New York specifically, that now they're actually starting to ban Airbnbs, or not quote unquote ban Airbnbs, but put such strict limitations on them,
restrictions, and
that they're effectively banning it.
Yeah.
Because then it fucked up the housing market too.
Yeah. Yeah. So, like I said, I think Airbnb, Vrbo may have jumped the shark like right around COVID, and they're probably going to fucking die. Tim Dillon was ahead of his time.
Yeah. Well, honestly, you just go back to booking houses the old way.
What was that?
Like
a travel agent?
Listed through an agent. And it's like, okay, if you want a house down the Cape, you get it for a week. And
yeah, that's true. I forgot that shit like existed.
Yeah, that's how it used to be.
Yeah.
Well, it's because the thing, every time my mother mentions the bridge down the Cape, it's fucking, oh, well, the cottage rentals are Saturday to or Sunday to Saturday or Saturday to Saturday.
Saturday to Saturday, typically.
Whatever it is. And I'm like, Ma, it's not 2003 anymore.
Yeah, it doesn't work that way anymore.
You
People
can
just
literally
Airbnb.
book it whenever you want.
Yeah, you can take it Tuesday to the following.
Yeah, you can do 3
Friday.
nights.
Yeah,
4 nights.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so I don't know. Maybe it was shift back that way. I don't know. It's just one of those things, and it is what it is, right? You pay it. You're going to pay it, and when, like I said before, when you're in a certain situation, it would be dumb to not do an Airbnb. Like we're going to go away somewhere and have 4 hotel rooms. Like that's dumb. That's fucking stupid. We're going to stay in a house. We're all going to stay in the same house. You know what I mean? So it's just one of those, like, this is interesting. This is what we're doing now, huh? This is what we're doing. You're charging effectively 40%. I mean, if you take out taxes, then the fees are less, but like including fees and taxes is 40% of the cost.
Crazy.
Yeah, it's nuts. So that's going to do it for us here, kids. So thank you for watching. If you're on YouTube, don't forget to click subscribe. Hit the like button down below. Jesus, down below. Excuse my speech impediment. Tell everybody you know about the show. Spread the word. If you're an audio only listener, you can subscribe also. And then if you use Spotify or iTunes, you can leave us a review and 5 stars. So go do that. Please and thank you. You can get us on Instagram at Sarcasm Speaks Pod. Twitter is Sarcasm_speaks. Facebook is Sarcasm Speaks. Website, sarcasmspeaks.com. Go to the merch store, buy some merch. While you're spending money, you can go to mybookie.com. Use the promo code SarcasmPod, and they will double your first deposit up to $1,000. And then you can mosey on over to noonbrew.com and buy some nighttime sleep bed tea, whatever the fuck you want to call it. They just sent me some daytime like energy tea, which I'm going to have to start drinking now instead of coffee because I don't want to be racist. But they sent it to me for free in my last box to try it out. So I'll try out their daytime tea for energy. But their nighttime stuff is pretty good. So you can use the promo code in the show notes below, and that will get you 10% off your order over there. And then lastly, we have the Ice Pod. So you go to thepodcompany.com, use the promo code below again, and you will get $10 off plus free shipping. We're almost in that time where you don't need an ice bath in New England. So they're still nice to have. So buy one anyway. So until next time, good night, everybody.